want to do a brief live here, and actually, based on the topic, uh, this may be one of those discussions that can be very sensitive, especially with the day and time that we live in. So I just wanted to take a little time out, during my break here, in between sessions that I wanted to talk about and answer the question: should we flee to Africa? Should I flee to Africa? Should you flee to Africa? Especially with everything that is going on. And I want to answer that question. You know, um, your answer for that question is Matthew chapter 24. And the Messiah, Hamashiach, he answers that question. And that's what I use to answer a number of questions. And there was a situation that I had to deal with a few years ago, dealing with, a pastor, a disrespectful supposed pastor. This person is not a pastor, though this person has the title, carried the title of a pastor, but this person is not a pastor. But this person was very disrespectful, rude, nasty, because of me. I guess he got offended with me teaching against polygamy. And so, make a long story short, I'm not going to get into all of that, not trying to stir that situation up again because it was a very ugly situation. But nevertheless, one of the things that he and others in this country, in other places, they are buying property and they are taking, using it as an opportunity to take advantage of people, right? Telling people that you need to buy property and then live on this type of compound, which is nothing more than the playbook of, and I'm just not, I want to say for some, I'm not going to say all, but just my observation, taking on the playbook of the plantation owner, the landlord. And when you look at these different compounds, it's laid out just like the plantation. You have the big house, which is where Massa would live at, and then you have the place where the slaves would live at. So many were, especially in this awakening, began to flee to those type of places. Thinking that, hey, let me go to this compound here, or this compound over here. And what many of these places are doing, that have these type of places, right? They're having people sign over their Social Security. They're having people to sign over their property and things along that line, and they take total complete advantage of these people. They're living in a nice house while people living in trailers, while people are living in things that are well beyond the standard of living, right? So I use that passage, I use Matthew chapter 24 to really use that to give proper clarity, whether or not should we, move or leave this country, or leave your home and go stay at somebody else's property, and then you're subjected to them and they become a type of Christ to you, a type of Messiah to you. So should you pack up all your belongings and move to Africa, right? And I'm going to say this, you know, uh, if we go according to the scriptures, right? When you look at what the Messiah said in Matthew chapter 24, he gave a prophecy about the times of sorrow, and the times of sorrow dealt with the times back then, the sacking of Jerusalem, the sacking of the temple, just the sacking of the Most High's people, Israel as a whole, right? So what he said to his disciples in Matthew chapter 24, when he dealt with the time of sorrows, he said, if you are in Judea, flee to the mountains. Or if you are at home, or if you're in your home, or if you're out in the field, or if you're out, go in your house, or if you're out inside your house, go to the rooftops. So what the Messiah told them at that time, during the time of sorrow, right, when he predicted or gave them a prophecy about the Roman invasion, right, he told them to secure where they are. Basically, that's what the Messiah said: secure where you are. right? Because not everyone have the resources to go to the mountains. Not everyone have the resources for today. If we want to parallel that to today, not everyone have the resources to go to Africa. And if you go to Africa, where at? Because Africa is just a continent, with a number of nations. Right, there are some nations that are the government, their local government is unstable, very unstable. My mother-in-law was getting ready to go to Africa a little more than a year ago. She's in Tanzania now, or Tanzania, however you want to pronounce it. She's over there now, but she was getting ready to go to another area. I believe it was Gambia, and I warned her. I said, if you go to Gambia, you have to keep in mind, not just with Gambia, but do your research on some of these areas, because that local government, can be very unstable when you start dealing with coups. And just so happened, just before she got, it was time for her to transition over to Gambia, they had a major lockdown. The government became unstable. So she decided to go over to Tanzania. So I'm saying all of this to say is that, there's a judgment that's going to come no matter where we are, right? The Most High is going to pass judgment no matter where we are. Not everyone is able to make it to Africa. Not everyone may have the resources to get to these different places, or get to a point of security like other people may have. So what do? In the words of the Messiah, secure where you are. Because he said that about Rome. I mean, the Romans invading Israel, right? But when he started dealing with the tribulation, right, the great tribulation, he said that, hey, so I'm going to say to you, he is in the field, the desert. Well, what does he refer to? What is he referring to? He's saying Christ, or salvation, is in the desert. But he told his disciples, don't listen. He's going to say they're going to also say he's in secret chambers. The Messiah is in secret chambers, right? So he said, do not get caught up in it. I'm just paraphrasing again for those that are not, may not know what the scriptures I'm referencing. I'm referencing Matthew chapter 24, right? Read the entire chapter, the times of sorrows, and also the great tribulation. So the Messiah made it clear, right? During these times, we have to be careful of what we hear people saying. Because he said there's going to be a lot of false messengers. There's going to be a lot of false people saying that they are anointed. Because if we say the word Christ, right, Christ to me is too generic. We have to take it a step further, because Christ is a transliteration of Mashiach, and both words means anointed. So in today's time, what people toss around a lot is the word anointed. So the Messiah is going to say, people are going to say, hey, I'm anointed, follow me. I'm anointed, follow me. Or go here, this is where the anointing is. Right? Be careful. We hear that word tossed around a lot within the church. That word is tossed around a lot. I'm sure you guys heard that so many times. Well, that person has such an anointing. This is where we have to be careful and put things in this proper perspective. So not everyone has the resources to move to Africa, right? But again, what part of Africa? What part of Africa, what country are you going to? But again, do not use that as a form of salvation. Let me say that again. Do not use it as a form of salvation. Because if you put anything, whether it's that or buying property here, whatever the case may be, do not put nothing before the Most High. The Most High made it clear that the Messiah is going to come. Read the prophecy. He says the Messiah is going to come. Right? He's going to dispatch the angels. They're going to blow the horn and all this. But it's going to be the Messiah that's going to bring all of us together. He's going to unify us. So again, my answer to that question is, if you cannot afford to go to whatever you you desire to go over in Africa, secure where you are. Let me say that again. You know, not everyone can afford to go to Africa. In certain countries over in Africa, and many people that have gone over there came back because of not expecting what they not expecting what they encountered over there. Many went over there with no plan, and they ended up leaving, right? So you have some people over there that are doing great over there, like T3. He and his family, I follow them. They're doing a great work over there. But they have a game plan. So I'm going to say this again. You know, and I see someone posted here. We always fled to Africa when trouble came. That's not true. Israel is inside of Africa. They may have fled to other parts of Africa, but guess what happened? Right? Guess what happened? Our ancestors, West Africa. What happened to our ancestors in West Africa? Our ancestors that fled further south of Africa. What happened? How do we get over here in this country? And they fled. They fled Jerusalem. They fled Israel and went deeper into Africa. And what was the end results? So that's my point that I'm making, family. No matter where we go, at the four corners of this earth, we are at the bottom of the totem pole. The Most High is going to gather us. The Most High is going to gather us. Let me say that again. The Most High is going to gather us. If you can, now for me, if you can afford it, and if you can make that transition right now to go move to a place over in Africa, so be it. Go for it. I will say go for it. But again, not everyone have the resources. So what do? You secure where you are. We're at in Africa. You know what I mean? Again, are we going to go to Israel? Where are we going? And we already know that in Israel is unstable. It's unstable in Israel right now, right? Because there's still other prophecies that have to fulfill itself. The battle of Gog and Magog and all that other. There's a lot that still has to fulfill itself. So, family, I know we're going through a lot. I know we're being suppressed as a community, and I just wanted again to encourage you guys do this quick live. I may do a special live to really go more into depth. I thought I did something on this about the prophecies, a series I did about prophecies, but I want to just reiterate this to you, family: secure where you are, because if you go over to, let's just say, Ghana, and you're not secure with in your finances, you're going to struggle over there as well. If you not secure in your walk with the Most High, guess what? It's not going to reinforce it when you get over there. So no matter where you are, you have to be secure with the things that the Most High has blessed you with. You have to be secure. You have to have a game plan. So I'll say it again, family. I'm not discouraging anyone from moving to Africa. That's why I want to make that clear. But I will say this again: secure where you are. If you cannot afford it, secure where you are. If you cannot afford it, do not feel like you have pressure on you to do something that you cannot afford to do. Like I said, I mean, not my grandmother, my mother-in-law, she's enjoying Africa, but at the same time, she kind of got a bittersweet right now, because guess what? Her grandkids are here in the States. Her children is here in the States. So again, you have to count all the costs. It's not that simple. It may be simple to some, but it's not simple to all. She enjoys it over there, but she's getting a little homesick about not being so far away from the rest of us here. So again, I'll say this again, family. This is where you have to count the costs. This is where you have to see what you are working with, and then you move according to what the Most High lead and direct you and your family. All right. So I hope that helps you guys. I hope that provided some type of clarity. I hope that took some of the stress off of some of you guys that may be stressing out or over whether or not what can you do should you go over to Africa. And again, that's just a generalized term. What country and how do you do your due diligence, and how you there are channels, there are people that are teaching on that, and they can tell you better than I can. Like Go Black to Africa, he does a great job at giving you the full lowdown, the full information, the full scoop on the different areas of Africa. So I couldn't provide you with that type of information. So again, I want to say this again. Do not feel like you're pressured to, whether it's moving to Africa or whether it's to uh, leave your home and go live on somebody's compound, right? That's nothing but a hustle. I'm just telling you straight up. You secure where you are. You don't need to go living on somebody else's compound. Secure where you are. Secure where you are. Right? Let's see here. Someone say, Major, I thought you were in YouTube jail. No, I'm not in YouTube jail, but had death in my family. So just kind of been taking a little time off to mourn, so we're in a time of bereavement right now. And so preparing for a upcoming funeral. So I haven't really been doing much in terms of my uploads and my community posts and even my lives. So I'll get back on track in another week. But I just wanted to address this question that I received about, should we all flee to Africa? Should we just flee to Africa? Is that the answer? Now I'm going to say it again. Read Matthew chapter 24, and it'll give you in depth, with clarity, what the answer is. So for me, in the words of the Messiah, and I'm paraphrasing, secure where you are. Secure where you are. If you can't make it to the mountains, like he said, if you in Judea, that's what he said in the first portion of it, dealing with the times of sorrow. If you are in Judea, flee to the mountains, right? If you're out if you're in the field or whatever, go in a house. If you're in that house, go to the roof. In other words, secure where you are. And then when he dealt with the Great Tribulation, he said, warned us about false prophets, false teachers, false messiahs, false anointings, and said that, hey, they're going to tell you to go into go into the desert, this isolated place. He says, don't listen to them, believe them not. Because they're using those places as what? A form of salvation. They're going to say the Messiah is in the desert. Believe them not. The Messiah is in the secret chambers or the secret places. Believe them not. Right? What are those secret places? We could say fraternities, sororities, Congress, because they have secret chambers there. So it's so much we can unpack with that. So I'm gonna say this again, family. This is where you have to listen with intelligence. In Matthew chapter 24, it begins. They asked the Messiah, they said, hey, when is the end of the world coming? Or when will Israel be restored? And it was really, in awe about the structures, the temples and all of that, the temple and all those different buildings. And the Messiah literally had to tell his disciples, before he got into all the prophecies, he said this. He said, do not let anyone deceive you. Here it is, the disciples. He started off with sharing with them the importance of discernment. Here it is, the disciples walking with the Messiah, being trained by the Messiah, anywhere from 2 to 3 years of just being with the Messiah 24/7, 365. And the Messiah said, hearken, do not, he said, let no man deceive you. So he's telling this to his disciples. Don't let no one deceive you. Come on, family. If he said that to his disciples, right, then we are going to have to take heed. Discernment is very important. All right. So I just want to share this again. We'll revisit this. I may or may not do a live by the end of the week. I mean, this weekend, I'll see how I'm feeling over the weekend, and we'll go more into the details of this. You know what I mean? So, hey, brother, Jay Highstyle, I don't know who this Jupiter person is. Remove this Jupiter person here. Matter of fact, I'm going to remove this person here. I want to say blessings to Jay Highstyle. Right? Want to block this person here. Peace and blessings to my brother Jay Highstyle. Hope all is well with you. We got to catch up. And all my brothers and sisters that are watching right now, peace and blessings. And you're going to always have trolls in here whenever we're teaching positive stuff like this. You know, people are always going to take opportunities to troll because of using the opportunity to bring attention to themselves. So, moderators, if you see anyone trolling like that, just kick them out. You know, we don't. I'm not tolerating. Don't put them in timeout. Kick them out. All right. So I hope this helps you. Feel free to shoot me an email if you have any questions about the scriptures, about prophecy, about whatever the case may be, a particular topic you want me to cover. And also I encourage you guys to go back over like some of my lessons, the foundational playlist. There's a lot of great teachings in there that really address a lot of what we're dealing with. So again, that's what happens when you're doing these type of teachings. Trolls come out. You know, when I'm teaching this type of stuff, trolls come out. Whether it's teaching about polygamy, teaching about whether or not if the virgin birth is real or not. You know, when you start teaching certain things, even in Nephilim, you know, you have a lot of people that start trolling and getting nasty over things like that. So with that being said, family, really appreciate it. Someone say here, Pastor Kelly, have you ever did a lesson about the two witnesses? Yes, I did. Look in my playlist, or just go back over the live video section and do a search for it. I did do it. Shoot me an email, and I may provide you a link, or put it ask your question in the comment section, and I'll put the link to the lesson there. So with that being said, family, gotta go. Appreciate you guys, and again, be encouraged, family. Don't allow the foolishness. Don't allow itching ear doctrine. Don't allow people to get you off of how you're supposed to operate, who you're supposed to be. All right. So like I said, trolls are going to troll whenever you have certain types of discussions. I want to say shout outs to my cousin, Benaiah Israel. Man, family, if you haven't, check out the latest video that he did when he went in about the knocking down the whole narrative, the Hebrew Israelites murdering Martin Luther King's mother, Regina King, the late Regina King. I encourage you guys, go peep it out. My cousin doing a great work over there. So with that being said, family, and cuz I'll reach out to you after I get me something to eat. But love you guys. Shalom.